Hey, greetings everyone. You have your ticket? Oh, you don't have it? No problem. Hit the subscription button below and come on in. Hey guys, DFG here. Today I want to change the subject. I know the last couple of videos I discussed some of the things that are going on with obviously the situation with Michael Jackson and then some of the other things as it relates to what's happening, in the world of the pedophiles and things that I think that are very important. Some of the issues with blackface and some of people of color inability to be able to understand that that you cannot be critical of something on one hand, but be accepted when it fits your standard, because when things like that happen, you lose credibility. And you can't, and it's no one's fault. But I want to say this as I share that, and the toxic masculinity. Oh yeah, the toxic. Yeah, there's one other thing too, but I won't bring that up right now. But the toxic masculinity thing, and of course, in my opinion, the movement to turn, I think females, against the male. That's what heterosexual females against heterosexual males. That's what I believe this whole toxic masculinity thing, is about. But again, that's my opinion. And if you're a female, you know where you stand. If you like your men like coffee, with a lot of milk and cream, or cream and sugar, then that's the way you prefer your coffee. But if you like your coffee, rich and strong, vibrant, then that's the way you like your coffee. And I happen to be, a representative of the rich, strong coffee. All right. So, if you like it the other way, then go ahead. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. But that said, the thing I want to talk about right now is what's going on in D.C. And this is pretty serious. And a lot of you guys, probably don't get too involved in politics. Maybe you're too busy, got too many things, trying to work-life balance, just trying to take care of the things that are immediate. So, my intention here is just to kind of share some insight on maybe some things you don't have time to hear about or know about, but to give you, just some, general information so that you know what you need to be thinking about and possibly what you need to prepare for as it relates to what's coming down the road. I like to say it as like this, if it's a, I don't know, if it's a track meet, I'm not one of the sprinters. You're the sprinter. I'm just the guy with the whistle that blows the whistle, so that it's time to, to do your thing. You know what I'm saying? If that is, in other words, it's time to compete, engage. So I'm the whistleblower, and so I'm just trying to make sure that you engage. You still have to do your own work. You still have a right. And I'm 100% supporter of that right to think and believe as you choose. That's a part of your right as a citizen of these United States. And so my message today is on the, about that right, the First Amendment. And the First Amendment, the part that I want to talk about is the freedom of speech, and also the freedom not to have your speech limited or censored. And so when it said the freedom of exercise of freedom of speech, or the abridging of that freedom of speech, go back and look at it. When the abridging of that speech simply means that nobody has the right to censor what you say. I mean, even if they don't agree with you, you still have a right to say it, as long as what you're saying is not something that could be harmful to the well-being of the citizenry of the United States. In other words, you can't be in the middle of a movie theater and holler fire. You follow me? So you can't do those kind of things. But you can be in the movie theater and say, I think this movie sucks, and I'm out of here. Well, you can say that, and you can do that. People might not like the fact that you're disturbing them during your movie, but you can. But that said, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she is the Congresswoman from Michigan, and she is the she's American American Somali. She's American Somali. She was a Somali refugee as a young girl, and she came to America, and now I think she has dual citizenship, but she is a citizen of the United States. Well, she made a comment a few weeks back, and guys, I would ask that you go back and do your research. She made a comment a few weeks back, and she talked about how that a lobbyist group, in this case AIPAC, and it's the Jewish lobbyist group, how that they buy, a lot of policy in Congress. In other words, she says that a lot of the Congress people they support policies and programs that are pro-Israel, but not always pro-citizens of the United States. And she said that, she didn't agree with that. She felt that as a representative of the United States, that the United States issues should always supersede any other country's issues are concerned. In other words, for you Trump supporters out there, in other words, America first. And it's interesting because she said America first, and everybody attacked her on the Democratic side and on the Republican side, because she said America first. Now, her way of saying America first was that, again, Israel is buying off politicians through their lobbies, and they're putting so much pressure on politicians that anything that a politician might have, congressman or congresswoman or senator, that there's so much pressure on them that around the concerns of Israel, that if any of them dare to say something that may not be supporting of things that Israel wants, that they could be ostracized, and now in the case of Congresswoman Omar, censored. Yes, right now your Congress, and I think his name is Kevin McCarthy, so you ought to look him up. But he is presenting now to Congress, a petition, I think is what I would call it, to censor this woman. And he's going to censor because he says that she's anti-Semitic, because she said something that was not pro-Israel. Now, she didn't say, something like blow Israel off the map, like the Iranian guy said, which I think that was kind of a stretch on what he was really saying. But okay, that should have never come out of his mouth, blowing Israel off the map. She said nothing like that. Nothing like that. All she simply said is that Israel is buying off Congress people for pro-Israel things that may not always be in the best interest of the United States. And for that, they have ostracized this woman. They even put a billboard up in Congress of this woman's face standing behind a building, 9/11, the Twin Towers on fire, as though this Somalian girl, who's probably, 2001? She can't be older than 30 years old, 32 years old. So this woman probably was 11 years old, 12 years old when the Twin Towers were, when they came down, 9/11. So why would you any kind of way associate a 10, 11-year-old Somalian child, with 9/11? That is ridiculous. So the only association you could make, and you'd have to be stretching that, is to say that, Arabs blew down the buildings. It was Arabs who knocked them down. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are around that. If you listen to my private videos, you'll surely know what I believe in regards to who knocked those buildings down. But again, this is not that. But surely this little black Somalian girl had nothing to do with that. So why would you even associate her with that? But that's where we've come now. And to show you guys where they're going with this, the minute, even if you don't care for Ilhan Omar, this is something you have to care. If Congress starts censoring what Congress people say, how long do you think it's going to be before they start censoring what you say and what I say? How long do you think that's going to be? With all the other things that we've heard about and we know what's going on, in terms of the economy, things that are going on, with, this madness around war, things that are going on with opioids and all these other issues that are really having a strong effect on you and I, Jane and John Doe American. All these things, the last thing we need to be sitting on the sidelines and not understanding is what is censorship and the freedom of speech. Because guys, I'm going to tell you, once they control what you say, game is over. Can you imagine just walking down the street and saying something that a police officer hears that he said, hey, you're not supposed to say that, go arrest them? Or your child just speaking their mind about something they have a conviction about, something that you raised them to have conviction about. And they take a stand that that you cultivated, a stand that you know is the right stand. But if it's anti-government, or if the government feels like it's offensive to them, your child could be arrested and seen as an enemy combatant, censored, and ultimately incarcerated, imprisoned, with no rights as it relates to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th Amendment. All those rights will be abdicated. And you should know what those are. I talked about that to you before too. But this is what's going on right now with Congresswoman Omar. And if you don't get involved in this, and you don't let your voice be heard about this, if you don't call your senator, your congresspeople and tell them, oh, hell no, we may not agree, if you find fault with what she has to say, but I'll be damned if we're going to say that she can't say it. And that's what they're trying to push right now on this particular woman. But again, guys, you know what I'm saying? As there's a saying that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one footstep. Censorship starts with one act. The last thing I'll say in closing this video, it reminded me back as far as biblical history is concerned, back in the early days of Christianity, a lot of the Christians were seen as terrorists. I don't know if you guys knew that. But back in early Rome, or Rome under Caesar, Julius Caesar, and I can't think of the names of his son. I want to say Tobias Caesar, and there's another one. But it was against the law to say that you were a Christian. They would come up to you and say, Caesar is king. And if you turned around and said Jesus is king, which they would have said really Yeshua back then. If you said Yeshua was king, not only were you arrested, but you were also crucified. You could have been fed to the lions. You could have been burned at the stake. You could have been hung on a tree, or you could have been crucified on a cross. Just for speaking up and against what the government said was acceptable speech versus hate speech. So this is not a new thing that we're confronted with. And if you think for some reason that we're so sophisticated today that there's no way the children of those children would make horrific decisions like that, you better think again. We're still under Judean law, not Judean, but Roman law. That's a term for it. And again, one of you smarter guys, then I can tell you that. Roman Greco law, I think it is. But our Senate, that's named after Rome. The way our Senate is set up is the way the Senate was set up. Our government system is set up under Rome. Even the Roman Catholic Church, is a byproduct of Rome. So don't think for 1 second that the people who think that way are long and gone, or this is going down the rabbit hole. What I'm talking about, it is not. This is a serious issue, and none of us should be okay or tolerant to allow this congressperson to be censored because she said something that they claim is anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, this is not Jerusalem. This is not Israel. And if we were in Jerusalem and we were in Israel and she broke Israeli laws in that country, then that's their business. That's something she would have to deal with. But this is the United States of America, a free and independent government. That's the foundation of this government. I mean, we haven't always lived up to that, but that is the basis of this government. And the First Amendment was there for one reason, and one reason only, to remind you that your freedom is the most important thing you ever have. And if you give up your freedom, then you give up everything that's worth living for, at least in my humble opinion. So, Congresswoman, Omar, I stand with you in terms of your right, to speak out against what you believe is wrong, lobbyists, lobbying senators, on behalf of Israel without thinking and taking consideration of how that might affect, the citizens that you're there to represent. And I don't think I'm alone. Thank you for your time, guys. Talk to you later. DFG, Gideon's Flight. Have a great day. Bye now.